Hey YouTube, this is Wink. Today's video I'm going to do about my key, my lock cylinder, and my steering column's locked up. Can't get it to turn. I'm stuck. Okay. Now watch a few videos. I'll see what I can do. So first thing I want to do is disconnect the battery. Alright, I watch a couple of videos of how other people do this. So I'm like, man, that's a lot of work. I can figure that out. Okay, so what they want you to do, well, first of all, this dash is all brittle. I've had it part before and it just cracks up all over the place. So what you should do when you're going to replace it is take this piece off, right? And take this off, the bottom piece of this, top piece of that, and maybe get over here by the radio and take this part off, but maybe you can fold it down without breaking it. But you can see how brittle this stuff is. See that? Cracks there. I'll put a radio in it, got all kind of cracks. Got it screwed down the dash so it ain't way up there in there. So anyhow, got stuck with the damn key and can't turn it. Sorry the video is going all wacky. I don't have much time on it, so show you what I did to get it unlocked. Okay, so that's going to be pretty hard, and when it's locked up, you know, you put a little vibration to it. You know how it is. If yours is locking up, it'll break loose. Okay, so if it don't, you can't get it going. I'll show you a way to do it. This here had a little cover on here and I pulled it off, and there's nothing under there I can do to do anything for it. But I didn't want to tear apart this dash. I've had problems with it cracking, you know, it's just busted up. It's like a potato chip. I don't want to break it any more than it is. So I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, gotta get the key unstuck. So what you do, I really got nobody to hold this phone for me, but I'll show you the motions. You want to turn the wheel to the left, right? So I'm going to try and do this for you. Okay, it's locked up, and if you turn it left, it takes the tension off of the key. Okay, so I want to just bring my arm in over and push this down left, right? And take my fingers here on here and lightly touch this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do next, well, I'm moving this lightly while I'm tapping it. Okay, so I'm going to have to use my other hand to show you what I'm going to tap it with while I'm doing this. Okay, alright, so this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take this lock and tap it like that. Not hard, but just a vibration. Just that vibration. See that kicking back and forth? Just that vibration will get it to unlock while you're slowly got your fingers on it. Okay, it'll pop unlock like that. Okay, so let's relock it. I've already done this. I'm just showing you how it's done. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, I don't want to take apart this whole console. That's a lot of damn work. And I don't want to break anything. So what I did, if you notice this tape on the key, okay, it lines up right there, right, with the two ends of the key. And you push that in, I can get linked to the key. And the reason I want to do that is, when I pull it out, I want to find out how deep this reference line is going to be. So I'll hold the key about right there where it's supposed to go and push that in like that. And then my key is like right there. So I made a mark right here for the length of the key. All right. And then I drew a line on my square with the key lock, right? Which way the angle the key lock's going. And it goes almost a little bit to the flasher little bit past that. So that gave me a lineup. Okay, so look over in here. There's the thing to take the lock out. There's the hole right there. That's how you get the lock out. Push that down in there and pull your key out. Okay, I'll show you that here in a minute. All right, because I only got 3 hands. Okay, so you put the key in. All right, let me take all this out. Start over. Okay, so it's locked now, right? It's locked. Pull the key out. The column still locks, and the key's still locked. Okay. All right. Like I said, to break it loose, get it like that, where you're turning with the other, or slight pressure with your other hand, or you're banging it like that, and you can jar it loose. All right. And let's fast forward here. How I cut this out was a hole cutter, and I cut it to 1 inch. All right. Here's the piece that come out that I cut it with. Right. I cut it with a hole bit. I cut that out of there and pulled it out so I could have access to the pinhole to get the lock cylinder out. Okay, just like that. All right, now let's see. This is what I used: a 1 inch bit, 1 inch hole bit, centered it, and it would hit about right there. But it goes just below that plastic. You may have to jiggle a little bit, and it's going to touch the housing, but it will cut it out. And there you go. There's your access. If you go a little bit further back this way, the center of this hole will be over here. But 1 inch gives you plenty of room. You can get right to that to get that lock cylinder out of there. Okay. So I'm going to try to do this one-handed again. I'm going to take the pick and we're going to remove the key cylinder so you can see it. Alright, so I'm working with 3 hands now. Alright, so you got to turn it all the way on. Battery unhooked. Got to unhook that battery. Turn it all the way on, right? I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try and hope this foam don't fall or something. Let me put it up here. No, that ain't gonna work. But anyhow, when you got it right, see if I can hold it and do it at the same time. Oh, maybe 3 hands again. So you gotta hold it all the way open and push that thing down in there. Okay. I don't know if it's come loose. It's so hard to do with 2 hands. Let's try it again. Okay. I got 3 on. Okay, and push it. And it. I'm gonna have to pause this for a second. Okay, so I got it out, right? I got it out. Okay, and this is your problem right here. This little slide right here. So I ground it down. You can see where it's grounded down. It's flush with the key in it. When you take the key out, it will rise just a hair. What happens is there's a spring on HM where these brass color things are. There's springs that push that blade in when you put the key in. But when they wear out, they don't push in and it sticks up and won't lock. Okay, so next step. Over here to the grinder. All right. Okay, so we take it over here to the grinder. All right. And right here, I use this pointer. Right here, like I said, there's a spring there and a spring here. Touchy, 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 touchy. All right. So with the grinder, I grinded down the blade with the key in it, so it was still locked. All right, so right here, you can see it's almost round, it's flush. That lock, that little blade there, moves in and out. That one there, and it rides in a groove, and I'll show you that here in a second when we put it back together. So once I ground it down and all that, I washed the lock out with carburetor cleaner, and then I put some blaster in it, or blaster white lithium in it after it dried, and just wiped it down. You know, get all the old WD-40 and all that crud out of there. So now this is flush. The lock is flush. This is your locking thing. That's what you're pushing down with the spike. All right, so I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to order one of these yet, but this will work for another 100,000 miles probably. So this is what I'm gonna do with it. All right, back in the van. Okay. So, we're going to see if we can see in that cylinder. Alright. And, showing the point why I don't use this. Okay. That groove right there is this groove right there that I grounded down. That's what locks your wheel. So when I pull out the key, that blade's going to raise a little bit and lock it in there. Okay, so what you do is there's a groove for that right there, and that pushes the key back in. All right, we'll do it slowly. We don't need the pin in there anymore. Okay, so this is the used one, and that's where I ground it down, so it's nice and flush now. Right, when I pull the key out, it's going to raise a little bit. So what I actually did was took some material off to compensate for the weak springs. Okay, so I just push this back in, and we're back in business. Look at that. We're back in business. Okay, all the way up, start. Okay, so if you actually turn it all the way, that line there lines up with the mark I made right there. See the key mark right there lines up with that chalk line I made, and I measured the key, and that's how I got close to the pin. Okay, so that's a 1-inch hole, and I got a 1-inch cap. How cool is that? Look at that. It's a 1-inch cap, just looks like an accessory. And now when I go back in to do my key, I don't have to take a whole lot of stuff apart. Now, check this out. When I go to crank it, it works good, and the accessory and all that works good. Okay, so when I get to lock, all right, just take the wheel, jiggle it like that, right? Pull the key out, and this will lock where nobody can steal it. And your gear shifter's locked too. You can't pull it in gear, right? And your wheel's locked. So the little bit I took off of the lock mechanism made up for the difference, and it made it like brand new again. So put that in there, perfect, no problems, none at all. And to lock it, just make sure you jiggle your steering wheel, pull out the key, jiggle a little bit, and then it's stuff proof again. All right, that's how you do the Astro van GM truck without having to take apart all of this and risk breaking things like this. You know, that stuff's pretty thin, you know. Last time I put a radio in there, all crackly, you know. So, scared to take it apart and touch it, you know, and it's just so cracky. Yeah. But that's the way to do it. Just go in there and do that deal right there. That's the trick. That is the trick right there. Look at that. So I'm not going to get stuck at McDonald's parking lot or at work or wherever I'm going. And this will work till I get my new one. That takes a week. Okay, so that's the fastest mechanic way you will ever see on a sticking GM key. Okay, and that's the trick to it, because I am the master. Okay, YouTube, that's how you do it. See you on the next video, whatever that may be.